Hi guys, good morning. I'm going to be going over some pictures and we're just going to kind of do it like that and just kind of make it a little simple. Checking in to see, we've got 19 of you online. We're a few minutes early. Hope y'all are hanging in there. I think Trump plans on doing a press conference, I think, this afternoon with the potential of getting back into the world again in the very near future, from what I'm understanding. My skin looks amazing. Oh, wow, really? Because I always had that condition of bloodshot eyes, and I didn't use my Visine. So, wow, thank you. Can't believe that because I didn't put on much makeup right now. So, but thank you. I just texted, not texted, but I commented on your mom's post, Brenna, about her book. I told her, I said, I can't wait for it to be a movie because it's just such a great book. If anyone of you want a short, good, fun, exciting, cry, laugh, everything book, it's called Rounding Home. Author's name is Swindell. And I told her on her Facebook post that if it ever is in a movie, I want to play a small role, one of the girlfriends in the story. Hope y'all had a nice evening. Another good book, if you're interested and have time to do some reading, a lot of you probably don't, but it's called Where the Crawdads Sing. Such a great book. Part of the money is being donated to adults with autism. That is fabulous. That is so cool. Such a great book. Oh my gosh, so fun. Okay, we're up to 32 people. Give people a few more minutes because I am a little bit early. Anything fun going on with you and your families? Brenna would be so funny. I could wear a wig or something. I can play just about anybody if I watch them for a little while. I can mimic them. I'm really good at that. It'd be fun. Always wanted to be a soap opera actress. I could totally be out of character. That'd been fun. But the job I also wanted it to always do was be a weather forecaster. That was my true one thing that I really wanted to do in life. That would have been fun. But you have to learn all that science and biology and math and all that stuff, I think. I don't know. But anyway. Hey, girly Kim. That girl who wakes up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, Ava. Great to see y'all's names. I wish I could see your faces, but so great to see your names. Yay, Sydney, you're on here. Good job. Several people are clocking in. Clocking in. Those of you who are brand new students and online, the clocking in process is your fingerprint, your thumbprint. So, taking the kids out to the ranch to ride and spend some time. Oh, that is so good. I know it's absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous outside. Every year I plant begonias outside because a begonia comes in different colors, and begonias are so sturdy. They're not like those wilty little flowers that are I think they call them pansies. Periwinkles do really good too, but begonias, every year I plant a whole bunch of begonias. So we went and picked up some, and I got some nice pink from my skin. So I'm gonna get a little bit browner. I might even step outside today a little bit. But the begonias, they have brilliant color green leaves with these pink flowers, and then they'll bushel out, and they just need a little water, but they stand up and do so well in bright, bright sun. And they've got that salmon, that rich salmon color. They also come in white. They're very hardy. The leaves are very perky, so they're not wilty and such. So, oh, the vet was open, huh? Wow, that's good. I wish the groomer was open. Lauren and I plan on shampooing our long-haired dogs, and they are long-haired and bushy, and I'm not looking forward to it. So they're going to get a shampoo. So I want to first, since it looks like we've got a full crowd on right now, I want to go ahead and give some shout outs to some of the color wheels that were done. Some of you had the opportunity to work on an extra project, and some of the color wheels that I received. Some were text because it was going through better, and some, but I want to show you this one first. This is Victoria's. And is Victoria online this morning? I'm not sure if she is, but let me scroll through here. Oh, Chandler made it. Hey, Chandler, good job, girl. You're savvy. Glad you're on. Kimberly Bellinger, I don't know if you know, Chandler Porter's back on. She had her baby, and she's back on. So welcome. This is her first day back. She's got hours from a few years back, and she's on. Fantastic. I don't see Miss Victoria on. We'll have to let her know. But these were coasters. She did these coasters, and she did several. And as you can tell, these are the complementary colors that we did, that we discussed rather. So we've got the, the blue and the green here. And I mean, it's just beautiful. And she did several. So as she was doing the process, she was able to let me know that they were drying and such. But what a neat project and something fun to do, just to enlighten your mood and help you feel, just use your talents and such. I thought this was just beautiful. Another one, Rihanna texted me her picture, and she was doing a monochromatic macrame, and just gorgeous. And Rihanna, if I could find it, I don't know if you're online. Um, um, Rihanna, I did something similar with paper cups. You know those paper cups that um, maybe construction workers use on a truck to drink water out of. They're kind of the paper narrow white ones. Well, I ran a crochet hook through it, and I took a long branch like what you've done, and I took this crochet, and I made this waterfall with this real rickety tree limb, not as sturdy and beautiful as this, but it wasn't for that purpose. It was a decor piece that I did for a background. But Rihanna monochromatic, really, really pretty. And so that's something you can look back over and think of the coronavirus. And I think this was Larissa. I'm trying to remember. I'm going to be so embarrassed if I didn't get that right. Um, but beautiful drawing, and just so, so pretty. Really, really pretty. I just thought this was really pretty. A nice watercolor of this done would be nice to actually frame too. I think a watercolor would be real pretty with that design. And I believe this was Elizabeth. Elizabeth did fantastic. You can tell she took everything from an organic point of view, and used vegetables and gardening and flowers and such. And she just did an extremely um, beautiful collage here. And I really thought this was very, very sweet and educational for Jennifer Orr's um, children and family. And that was really cool. I thought that was very sweet to get your kids involved and paint each other up. I thought that was cute, so cute. And I believe Laura Lopez has graduated already, so I'm sure she's not worrying about being online. But she took a lot of time and did a great job here, um, making her color wheel so um, educational, and did a really good job right here in the color, incorporating the tertiary color, secondary, and such. And this one is just so cool. Um, Promise did this one, and I just thought this was just absolutely fabulous. Um, I would like this done on a canvas. Actually, I think this would be so cool to have in the beauty school and framed, and really cool. I just thought this was very oh just extremely creative, and I'm embarrassed because I can't find this one in my text message because my phone is stuffed. So y'all have to tell me who did this one. But there we go. I know it was an esthetician, but I don't remember who, and I'm embarrassed. I just I thought you did it, Katie. And if you saw my phone right now, my phone history, I looked you up in my phone, and oh, I thought that was you, Katie. You did so good. You know, there were so many, and I could spend a lot of time, you know, going through these, but just very cool. These are just ones that I would really like to have copies of and put into the school. We could get it on Canvas somehow. I know everyone's so busy. So technicians, y'all are probably like, why are we learning this? But it is even the um, the layers of the skin and histology of the skin is part of yours too. So we're just going to kind of briefly kind of go through those a little bit. Um, the first term that I want to talk about here is this word right here is called lentingenese, and that's how it's pronounced actually. That's another term for a freckle or a macule. And what I just want to show you, and if you just want to write that down, you can. That's an older term that I learned in beauty school. The new term is freckle or macule. And again, we see these different ones at the bottom of the screen here, but on the back of the back. So a lot of people who have freckles, sometimes they get kind of afraid that they need to be, that one of these could be darker areas or such. And I truly encourage every single one of you to have your skin scan with your dermatologist once a year. It's usually about $75 to $85 for your visit if you don't have insurance. We just pay out of pocket, and it's a quick little skin check. She or he will go through your scalp, around your ears, between your toes, just everywhere. And it's freckle or macule. And this one hopefully will be easy enough to see. You can see on your hand right here, there is a stain on the skin. Keep in mind for state board purposes that the stain can be brown or like a red wine color. So it's right in there. Some people might call that a birthmark, but in this case, it is a stain. And here is another image of a stain. Sometimes we see the leg can have this presence of blood pigment that's coming to the surface of the skin. And so this is our abnormal patches with round or irregular patches that occur mostly during aging. Sometimes after the disappearance of moles or a liver spot, etc. And the case is unknown. The cause is unknown, sorry. And then remember, this is just a good little review. A nevus is also called a birthmark. And if birthmarks bother you, there are some new procedures out there that people can do to help mask the condition, but you have to see a professional for that. I'm not sure what that newest technology is, but most people, it doesn't bother. They just go on about their life. There's a great fictional book about port wine stains. Yeah. Another term, if you didn't get it down on your paper or it didn't come across on some of the white patches. So, and these lighter areas will not tan. Less aggressive, I should say. And so the little pin style, the micro needling, I mean, microdermabrasion came around. Micro dermabrasion would cause leukoderma, these white spots, because, and I'm going to share with you one on my face that bothers me a whole lot, and there's nothing to do about it, but I'm going to share that spot right there in my face. That's a leukoderma from the injury of me trying to get this little cyst out that was down in there. And I have a hard time even masking it with makeup. Now, I don't have a lot of makeup on this morning, but I do have a hard time masking that spot right there. But it's from the damage of my aggressive pinching of the skin. So I damaged the melanocytes that live down here in the dermis layer, and I damaged that right in there and no longer can get that melanin pigment back. So be careful of how harsh you mash on your skin, and kind of remember that we can cause injury to the melanocytes. So dermabrasion, you will see people in the community that kind of remember that we can cause injury to the melanocytes. So dermabrasion, you will see people in the community that are much older, and they were using that all and scouring so hard that they have patches of light all over their face from abrasively using that machine and not being equipped with what they are supposed to be doing. Yeah, Alexis, I know I'm a picker too. I hate it. You know, so we can gently extract and such, but I kept thinking in the aesthetic world, sometimes you can get this cheesy, very awful smelling. Now, I have never experienced it on myself, but cheesy, awful smelling cyst that's tied to the sebaceous glands underneath there, and you keep thinking that you can get it out and you can get it out. And I thought that's what it was. So when I went to the dermatologist, they said, "Well, no, you don't have that, but you were pressing on the nodule down in there, and that's what caused that." So I am glad that it's way over here, but still, I hate it from my profile view and stuff. So anyway, just something that. Oh, thank you, Promise. I'd love a big canvas one. Yay. Okay. Let me see. What's a strawberry like when it's on a baby's head? Oh, yeah, that little port wine strawberry patch, yeah. The leukoderma, yeah, Becky, just that absence of the melanin, so probably some kind of, abnormality in the skin when it was developing, unless you're like me and you're poking, you know? I'm just gonna show you real quick. I was showing them pictures of some of the color wheels that people did. Katie, these were just some, really great ones that I just had to take a picture of because they were just so good. I just really like these. The monochromatic, just catching up, girl, and coasters. Very cool. Anyway, okay. Another term, and I don't know if y'all had jotted it down, is called albinism. And I'm going to write it big because it's not written large enough for y'all to see. Albinism eyes are light and sometimes pink. And I'm just going to read this to you right quick. Is the fault of the production of melanin that it causes little or no color, meaning pigment, in the skin, the hair, and the iris of the eyes. The albinism appears when one of the several genetic faults of the body is unable to produce or distribute melanin, a natural substance that gives color to the hair, the skin, and the iris of the eyes. And for those of you who are hairstylists, you cannot add pigment to that hair at all. It will not take because there's no melanin. Remember, oxidation occurs when the interaction of melanin, natural pigment, peroxide, the aniline derivative, and air. So with the absence of melanin, the client who has albinism cannot successfully get a hair color treatment. It will not hold. This next term, um, I don't really understand other than explaining to you that kind of tells you a little bit more, but I'm not very well versed on this. All I know is the skin, for whatever reason, is thicker. So this, and then they're showing you in this illustration that has less increased in number is different. So a healthy cell has less cellular numbers and less fat, so to speak, or an overgrowth. So cell hypertrophy and cell, y'all need to know, and that we need to know, is hypertrophies or hypertrophic is an abnormal increase in the overgrowth of an, and that makes that skin have a thicker. The skin is an organ, so it's the largest organ, so it's going to be thicker in those areas. So that's kind of a tough term for me, I'll be honest with you. Now, our you don't want to mistake this for corns, and you don't want to mistake this for planter's warts. So on the bottom of the foot here is an image. Let me read it first, and I'll show you the image. Let me read it first, and I'll show you the image better. You can sort of see this thickened patch of epidermis that we were just talking about. If thickening grows inward, then it becomes a corn. And the corns are extremely painful to walk on, and they have to be treated by a physician. So this, remember, for your board, it's called the keratoma, which is a simpler term would be a callus. So I'm just going to hold that up for a second. Hopefully I'm holding it good. So for the keratoma or callus, you can get the nail technicians, or even just for your own little home care, you can get those metal, it looks like it kind of like a little cheese grinder kind of thing, and use that at home. Oh my gosh, y'all, my heels don't get those fissures in them because I'm aging, of course, and I need to do it again. Mine are very light fissures, but I have had fissures even 10 years ago when I was 40, and they were really, really deep. And getting that and just really stroking that dead epidermal flakes off is essential in keeping those heels nice and smooth and soft. Just keep in mind, I'm going to write this term down. In the state of Texas, although they work fabulously and I love them, you are not allowed to use, nail technicians, you're not allowed to use a Credo tool for removing dead skin off the heels. Ooh. So the Credo is fabulous, but it has a razor attached to it, and technicians that used it regularly would do a superb job, and it just takes all that dead skin off in just one swoop, and it was fabulous. Although there were some people who were not very good, and they pressed too hard with that razor blade around that to go around the heel, and it was so painful for many clients to walk on. So in the state of Texas, these are outlawed and you're not allowed to use them. If you want to use them at home on your family or something, just as a tool to help them with their painful heels, you could do that. I don't think anyone's going to know at home if you're using the Credo. Now, we're talking about different moles, and on state board, they're going to ask you the difference in basal carcinoma and then melanoma and which one's more severe, and I'll show you a couple of pictures of those. But these are our moles, and just remember, we don't just have the ABCs anymore, we also have the E, and the E is evolving. So I'm just going to hold this up like this for a little bit just to give you a second to look at that. And look at those irregular borders, and just be very, very familiar with these. And again, get those skin checks. But remember, we're not going to tell anyone that they have any type of, we're not going to diagnose them. In other words, we're not going to tell them that they have that. In other words, we don't want to scare them. We want to educate them that to you and from your personal studies that it might be wise for you to go and have it checked. Make sure you're checking on your children as well. And estheticians, nail technicians, everybody calls it, well, everybody, but especially our nail technicians, I'm sorry, on the bottom of the feet and the hands, if there's freckle, any pigment whatsoever on our hands or soles. It's not really supposed to be, and it should be checked out by your dermatologist regularly. I did have one student about 20 years ago, and she had a simple little freckle on the bottom of her heel, and they had to remove at least a huge chunk of her heel from her foot because it was a dangerous one, and it was biopsied and such. So, extremely important just to have those things checked. I've also been told that any type of coloring matter that's under your nail bed, the outside of our nail is called the plate, and right below the plate is the nail bed. And so, down in the bed, if it's never growing off and it's always there, then that also needs to be checked as well. So make sure, don't scare anybody, but just make sure that you do have those looked at. And my daughter has one on the bottom of her foot that I've had checked numerous times by a pediatrician as time went on. And then, of course, I check it. So just make sure because we just never know, especially on the head too, because all hairstylists always make sure that you just tap, tap, tap and tell somebody, hey, just want to make you aware you have a little something right here. Just want to make you aware you might want to take a mirror and look at it home and determine whether or not you want to have that looked at. Nail technicians, very important. This is the bottom of the foot in the first picture. A verruca is a wart. Now, this right here is planner's warts. And I want to tell you my personal story. It's embarrassing, but I want to tell you about my personal story with planner's warts. I thought that this was actually like a callus because I couldn't see the black dots without taking the hypertrophic skin off of the top layer. But once I did on the bottom of Randy's foot, I was doing a little pedicure and I thought I was just such a great little technician and really digging at that and smoothing that callus, what I thought to be a callus, and then it started looking like little pinhead black dots down, and I contracted it underneath both of my thumbnails, right up underneath here on both sides because I was digging at it and really trying to etch it away and using my tools. So Randy and I were making regular trips to the dermatologist for the cryotherapy, and as you know, extremely difficult to get rid of. Um, um, it's just extremely important that you recognize planner's warts and not a callus or not because sometimes this is covered with a white kind of a layer over the edge, and then once you use like a tool to scrape that off, you can see the tiny black dots down in there. And I was treating him with corn pads and all this other stuff, and terrible. So it resulted in thickened planner's warts up underneath both of my thumbs. Yes, gross. But we had to go about 5 to 6 times, $200 a trip, and for each of us, and terrible. So don't pick at those, and they are viral and they are highly contagious. Now we see the warts on the hands as well. Um, these can be very stubborn. My son had a couple, and again, $200 a piece for every trip, and we had to do 5 trips to the dermatologist, out of pocket cost. In fact, I just paid on the bill the other day. Gave them $100 towards it because I'm just paying them out. But they'll scrape it, try to kind of make it bleed a little bit, and then so they can power down into it and kill that virus down in there. Yes, Gabby, that would be you can kind of scratch that layer off and you could see it. So if you did come across that, it'd be real important for you to go ahead and discard all those tools that you're using that are single use and not multi-use, and get rid of that. So Warts are so hard to get rid of. I cannot even tell you. So the contagion of it, if you're giving a hand massage estheticians, make sure that you're checking. Um, Unfortunately, my son, when he had his, it transferred from one over here because he'd pick it like this, and then it got around the perineum, this area around the skin here, and then it looked like dry cuticle. It wasn't dry cuticle. So, I mean, absolutely the worst. Our next one is skin tags. And skin tags, they can be dark like this, and they can be light. And the term that you really kind of need to know for your state board is they have flappy like, they flap around. Harmless, a lot of people don't like them. I have known some people to get dental floss and just with a quick tie off, they'll just snatch it off. I've never done it, but yeah, I don't know. But they are bothersome, for some people. My dog has one, and Lauren and I hate it. It's on her belly. She wants a belly rub all the time, and I asked the veterinarian when she went in for rabies shots, "Hey, guys, very important, you keep your dogs, with their up-to-date shots. If your dog, even if they're sweet and they were to snap." I had a very good friend who, speaking of vets, Erica, I had a very good friend, a little Scotty dog. Probably at the time that dog was maybe 10 years old, and I picked little Duke up and I held him like a baby, and he needed to sneeze, and I guess it frightened him. And this dog would never hurt anybody, and he bit me right here. So right here in my smile line, I had a little cosmetic surgery there, and then another um, area that bit me twice on my face. So be very, very careful of getting those rabies shots. I don't know why I went on to that, but you do not want to be a non-diligent. Oh, videos are crashing. Ooh. Um, you want to be diligent with your animals. But anyway, back to the skin tag. Um, I was getting the dog the shots. Anyway, the skin tag, I asked the vet if she could do something. She said, "I'm sorry, unless you want to do a procedure and it's going to cost a lot." I was like, "Oh, forget it." Okay. Next thing we have is broken capillaries. Ooh, she burns them off with a cigarette. Oh my gosh, Sulie. Girl, that is crazy. What did she cut them off with? Oh my gosh. So broken capillaries, estheticians, very important, no steaming and no vaporizing. So the vaporizer is another term for steamer. Hairstylists, y'all need to know that as well. Vaporizer, another term for it is steamer. So if you don't know the word vaporizer, that just means steamer. And we don't want to use that, and we don't want to use a lot of pressure on our massage on this type of skin. Nail technicians, not a lot of deep massage on this. You're just expanding and breaking those and causing more thin, broken, dilated blood vessels. Let me see what else I have written on here. I have to turn it. I'm sorry. They turn blue in color. They're fine lined. They can be due to excessive friction, extreme heat or cold, and poor blood circulation. How many times have you seen our Texas farmers from small towns that will have some broken capillaries like that on their face? A lot of men massage for that. Okay, so for state board, you're going to need to know which one is worse, the squamous cell carcinoma or the melanoma. So just remember, the melanoma is going to be your most serious form of skin cancer. And what you need to know for your board on this one is squamous is kind of reddish and pinkish. So you can make some notations on that. Nail clippers, sanitized. Ooh, oh my God, that would hurt. Or I guess it would hurt. Maybe it wouldn't hurt. Maybe these things don't hurt that bad. So again, squamous cell carcinoma is pinkish and reddish. That's what you need to know. And the melanoma is the most serious. Now, the other thing that you need to know is the penetration of where these penetrate into the layers of the skin. So for some of you, gone way down into the vascular area of the dermis and the epidermis. So the squamous, it's right here at the epidermis area, but the melanoma has penetrated deeper, and it's gotten the condition is worse. And as you all know, and we may know some loved ones who have dealt with this serious condition of melanoma. So for state board, you need to know the squamous is epidermis, melanoma, dermis. And then just remember that one is slightly like pink or whatever. Okay, now a tumor can be benign or malignant, and we don't know. This is why it's extremely important to get in anytime you see a nodule or lump or bump or tumor. It's very, very important that you get in and that you have that looked at. Aren't you loving it, Miles? Right after breakfast or before breakfast, right? So any bump like this, please have it looked at. You could save yourself. Now, a lot of times we've heard, right now we're hearing COVID, 19 and such, how and illnesses and stuff. And there's so many illnesses that are terrible. And a lot of times we don't really understand or know what syphilis can look like. So this is what syphilis would look like. So obviously, I hope my nail technicians realize and my estheticians, I hope that y'all really realize y'all are here to just continue. Your license is simply to continue the beauty of the existing skin. You did not go to school for 10 years and take out $500,000 in student loans to learn to treat or diagnose or give prognosis or anything to this type of skin. And I hope that you have the common sense to not work on any type of infection like this. But this is syphilis, and it's open sores basically and lesions. And this would be the stage of when it's really gotten really bad. Okay, let me see what I can read right here in case y'all can't read it. It's you coming into contact with another infected person. The sores will have an open hole in the center. What's going to happen to someone if they have this and they're diabetic? What could really happen? Right, Monica, exactly. If this doesn't heal and that becomes an open ulcer that contains pus, thank you, Alexis, amputation. So anything that looks serious, don't just think that it's an itchy owie or something like that. Get to a physician. My goodness, that's what they go to school for. That's what these professionals are there for. Now, this term is pronounced. Estheticians, I want you to make sure that you have this definition written down. Hairstylists and nail technicians, you'll be more than likely required to know this term here, but this is another technical term for it. So if you're working in alongside a dermatologist or medical setting, it's urticaria, and this is the term for hives. Okay, so y'all need to write this one down too, urticaria. Um, and so it's another term for hives, and another term for that is, now it says wheel, and the way it's pronounced is wheel or something like that. So I just say wheel, but I think I'm off of my pronunciation because I just call it hives. And the only thing we can really do as a person in dealing with hives is take Claritin or Benadryl or something. Okay, but it's urticaria is the other one that my estheticians need to know. Okay, now we talked a little bit, or maybe Kimberly and Alana went over dermatitis. Some of you in the school I have seen that around your face, this is what we typically see with the youth, and this is what we see with mature adults. But in youth, right here, some people mistake all this congestion, a little bit of flare up that comes and goes, and it's always persistent. It never, not contagious, Tabitha. It's always congested, and sometimes there'll be some eruptions with acne and such. The problem is our nail technicians work with monomer, very harsh alkalis, chemical substances that are very harsh. And like wiping your bristle of your brush from using it with monomer and flattening your brush to make it all pretty and smooth so it can dry. And then you don't wash that and you touch your face like this, then you have what we call contact dermatitis. This will never go away without seeing a dermatologist for a antibiotic. And I think it's about a 3 to 4 month antibiotic. So really important that anytime you're working with Windex, uh, Clorox, bleach, all these different types of chemicals, that you don't touch your face because without washing your hands first, because it's contact dermatitis, and it's not going to go away, and it comes and goes, and it'll flare up um, quite a bit. So that's called dermatitis. Yes, I've seen a lot of people with contact dermatitis. I've even my son's close friend, he has it, and I told her about it, and she didn't know. I said, "Do you think maybe Jackson might have a little bit of contact dermatitis?" And I don't know that she was real pleased with me saying it, but she's a friend. Later found out about 3 or 4 weeks later, she went to a dermatologist, and um, he's on a cream. So I guess she investigated, and maybe she was okay with it. Maybe it just took her by surprise, and I worried her. I don't know. But yes, I've seen a lot of students with this at the beauty school. Another term, real easy, it's called laceration, and y'all know what that is. That is a jagged tear in the skin. We probably have all had one of those. Yeah, Maria, be afraid of those strong products. Keep it away, and we'll just wash your hands and use your gloves. Okay, our next one is what I was talking about earlier with the heel on our heels, or the deep cracks in the dermis right here on the sides of our mouth, called fissures. And you can see 2 examples here on the lips and then the heel. Nail technicians, I will tell you, on the heel here, these can be very sore and kind of painful a little bit. So be careful of that, and try to slough off some of the superficial with a pumice, and those little pastel colored pumice bricks that you can get for pennies. Gosh, they're worth their weight in gold. I tell you, they're fabulous. It'll keep these heels so smooth. And I would retail those items to my clients if I were you, and have them use it 3 times a week in the shower with a quick little friction movement. They come in like pale yellow, pale green, pale pink, like at all of our beauty stores, are little small little bricks. They are fabulous. If you don't like the cheese grater type of thing in your shower and you want to just use that, but remember, if anyone in your house is suffering with athlete's foot, don't use those from person to person. You're going to transfer athlete's foot, which is tinea, or a form of ringworm. And then here on the lips, we're just going to use some Aquaphor and some Vaseline, petroleum type of product, to keep that smooth. But if you will not get to this level on the foot if you will use those little pumice bricks that I'm talking about. So that is called fissure. And then we've all seen or know someone or personally have a keloid or scar. So keloid, another term for keloid, is a scar. And these can be lasered off and smoothed out with laser treatments that are advanced for people who it bothers them. And then we have a nodule or a knot-like node that's below the skin. And I will tell you that, well, I'll go into that in a little bit. The nodule, the node, uh, they need to be checked out by your dermatologist to just make sure that there's nothing malignant. So and there's no pus being extracted, or there's no lancet going on right here for these nodules. Another term that y'all just need to be familiar with is a puncture wound. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Connie, no, they are not painful. Um, I think a few people have them that are painful, and a few people don't. You know, like it's common in Labradors and Golden Retrievers. They get little knots like that, little nodules. But a cyst is painful, so we'll talk about that one. Nail technicians, very, very, very important. Our clients who are diabetic, please do not use sharp block buffers, sharp emery boards that had not been seasoned a little bit, or files, and accidentally cut their skin. If you do, it can result in an open ulcer, which is a lesion that is not going to heal if you're diabetic, and would result in, yes, it could be surgical as well. Um, and these have a tendency to not heal. And if you look at some others, guys, these ulcers, they can be so big. People have had them in large, large areas. This would be limited to the foot and the hand, more of what you might see. Some people could mistake this for a lot of things. What you need to know for state board is my little sentence up here. It is open lesions that are serious and can be accompanied by pus. What you need to know right here is when you see the word ulcer on your test, just remember it does include pus on it. Okay, and it's draining. Okay. And our last one here on this one is, this is another example of an ulcer that's starting to happen. So again, we just need to be mindful and observant and really look at the scalp, the skin, the foot, the hand, the arm, the décolleté. I know, Lauren, it's true. So just be mindful of all this, and look at your client before you just start something. Check for, let me write down this word to make sure you know it. It's not in this chapter, I don't think. Pediculosis, Pedicullosis. This is lice. Okay. Look for lice, look for abrasions, look for scrapes. As we talk a little bit more about psoriasis and eczema and stuff, you'll know that those are not contagious. You'll see silvery patches all along the back of someone's neck who might be older, who has severe psoriasis, and it'll look like maybe they haven't shampooed, lots of epidermal scaling and scrapes. As long as there's no oozing or scratching or blood, then you can still do that perm, and you don't even need to wear gloves. You can still do that haircut. Assist, let's see, are they painful? Which one did we talk about? Are they painful? Oh, the ulcers, yes, I've heard. I have a dear friend, and her dad had amputation from having a wound from the shin down due to a cut that did not heal. And we let's see, right now it's almost 11. I'm going to have Katie send out your next your next little review sheet over what we just did. I encourage you to take the word bank, the A through ZZ, or the matching. I encourage you to take that document and look at the word bank first and ask yourself to see if, what you know. Ask yourself, okay, I see the word scar. What does that mean? And then go look for the definition. Sometimes you'll find that you learn and you know better, and you're better equipped with an or have better theory knowledge than just reading the sentence and looking for the quick answer. You want to take the short answer, think about what it relates to, and see if you can find the long sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and have her send that out just a little bit earlier than I originally intended, so that you can start working on that. I don't know if Katie's on live right now. She's probably not. She might be helping Randy, but um, I will send that out. So check your email. All you're going to do is simply you're going to have a list of terms on one side, a list of terms on the other. So it'll be like a one with like an A, B. So you're just going to get a piece of paper and write numbers one through such and such, and you'll just put the whether or not, let's just say number one matched with B. You're just going to put B. So I encourage you to do the very best that you can, so that you're gaining this knowledge so it just comes so easy to you. So take the time to really broaden yourself. If you want to work with somebody over the phone or something, that would be great. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Connie. It's important. I think everyone could use a dose of this lesson, whether or not you're in our industry or not, because we just need to have more awareness. And because awareness just means that we can take care of ourselves and we can get to a doctor early and we can still live a very long and long life and just have the professionals take care of the problems that we have. So, anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'm going to text Katie and make sure that she can send out that email. You're welcome. You're welcome. I always love seeing y'all and spending time with y'all. I'm gonna tune in to Trump today and see what our next step is. I think I'm awaiting that press conference to see what he plans on doing. So it's going to be interesting. Um, oh, thank you, Molly. Molly, you're going to Chandler. I don't know if you have Molly's. Molly, can you please type in your email address for Chandler, please, or anyone new that might not have it, and get that in there real quick so that y'all can email that to Molly. Please, no later than 1:15. That's going to keep you accountable. I try to change things up just to kind of keep you on your toes. There we go. There's her email right there, Chandler. I hope you got it. And signing off. Love you guys and have a beautiful day. Get out there and get some of that vitamin D. You know that vitamin D soaks into your skin much, much better if you have a two-piece swimsuit on because it absorbs through our tummies. So get out there and get a little bit of that sun. I've been kind of trying to do that 1 hour a day just to get some of the nice warm sun on my belly. No one's watching you. You don't have to have the perfect body right now. Get that vitamin D out there for a little bit. And estheticians are probably saying, hey, put on your sunscreen. Yeah. And you should. Okay. All right. I'm signing off. Y'all have a great one.